All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, a couple of physique updates from Keone Pearson at under a week out from this year's Olympia. Keone texted me both of these updates. And in his text, he said these were taken by his coach, Patrick Torr, and he also said that he's weighing 203 pounds in each of these updates. Now, I get the impression that Keone is really confident in how he's looking for this prep. It seems like he's been posting more than usual if you compare this to some previous preps. And I feel like he's posting a lot more of his lower body, his legs, than he usually posts. So in these updates, the one that really impressed me the most wasn't the legs. It was the upper body, the vacuum pose. Keone just looks incredible. And I got to say, this is another reason why I think the 212 Olympia is being slept on. I think it's going to be very competitive. Keone is a guy that I don't think people are really considering as a top contender right now based on his placing last year. 14th place, a lot of people have the feeling, well, if you go with the trend, that might happen again. Keone might blow it this year. And I'll admit, I myself am a little hesitant to say Keone could be or will be a top 3 guy in 212. And I guess I haven't done a 212 Olympia prediction video yet. I guess I should probably do that. Because I've hyped up Keone so much in the past, and then at the last Olympia that he did, 14th place, everybody was messaging me, oh, your boy Keone, he blew it. But I do have a feeling that this year is different. And again, with Derek being absent from this year's 212 Olympia, that title being wide open, I don't see why Keone doesn't have a shot to win. He's bigger than Sean. He's bigger than Kamal. Kamal and Sean are both known for conditioning. Maybe Kamal is a little bit more comparable to Keone in terms of size, especially if Keone's 203. So he's still well beneath that limit. But I also don't think Kamal is maxing out that 212 weight limit. We certainly know that Sean Clarita is not maxing it out. So conditioning, like I always say, is very important in 212. And Keone looks to be in good condition. Now, another guy in 212 that I'm really excited to see, Angel Calderone Frias. So Angel qualified, like Sean Clarita, for both the 212 and Open Olympias. Now, my understanding is he is planning on only doing 212, similar to Sean Clarita. I would say that's the best decision for most of these 212 guys right now. With Derek being out of this lineup, and with this lineup really being wide open, I think anybody could take the 212 title home this year. It's more open than it's been in a very long time. Angel is another guy that has become infamous for gnarly conditioning. And he's got a ton of muscle, really, for a 212 guy. He's very compact, but he's got a ton of muscle loaded on that frame. He's another guy that I'm a huge fan of that I think has a shot at not only top 3, but I think he has a shot at taking out a guy like Sean, a shot at taking out a guy like Kamal. Kamal is an older guy. He's fantastic for his age, and he's fantastic regardless of his age. And he's a guy that, similar to Sean Clarita, that could be a weakness. He's not getting any younger, and Sean Clarita's weakness is that he's not the biggest guy in the lineup, which he's the most conditioned guy in the lineup, or has been in the past. But sometimes a guy with a lot more size than Sean with comparable conditioning could win, and I think Angel is one of those guys that comes in gnarly shape and has more size than Sean. So my point simply is that while you have these former Olympia champs in 212, Sean Clarita, Kamal Gardner, it's not like we have a Phil Heath or a Ronnie Coleman that won multiple times. We have 2 guys that I think were good champions, but can absolutely be beaten. And I think of all the divisions that we're most excited about at this year's Olympia, Classic Physique, Men's Open Bodybuilding, 212, I think 212 has the highest probability of there being a brand new champion this year, and that's what makes it so exciting. Let me know in the comments below your 212 Olympia predictions and who you think is going to win, and I guess I should probably do a 212 Olympia prediction video in the next day or so. Now, next up in the news, we've got another physique update from Blessing Owodabu, a back lat spread shot, and I guess we can assume based on yesterday's updates that this was also taken recently around 1 week out, but I kind of wonder if Blessing is posting older updates to throw people off, because honestly, looking at this shot, I don't think his conditioning looks that sharp for a guy that's days away from taking the stage. One of the reasons why I say that is the lower body. I don't see a whole lot of separation and detail in the hamstrings. I don't see a whole lot of striations, if any, in the glutes. And then if you look at his not his mid to lower back, but just his lower back there, you can see wrinkles in the bottom of his back. Now, on stage, those wrinkles are kind of a sign that somebody's not in shape. That's a place where people tend to hold water. So not necessarily if a guy's not on stage, would that really mean he's not going to be in shape? Because obviously the last week is where they cut the most water. But I haven't seen too many other guys posting shots from the back that have that pronounced of wrinkles in their lower back still at 1 week out. All right, guys, today's video is sponsored by Rest When Dead Clothing Company. Rest When Dead Clothing Company is a hardcore fitness clothing brand with highest quality premium clothing, a tighter fit in the arms and chest for a more aesthetic look, unique designs, and a portion of the proceeds goes directly to the fitness community. 1,000%. Awesome. Thank you to Rest When Dead for sponsoring today's video. And if you want to support the sponsor, go to the link in the description box below, and it would help them out a lot, and it would help me out too. And you'd be supporting a small business that supports the bodybuilding community, so they would appreciate it a lot, and so would I. Now back to the video. I would say if you look at Nick Walker, for example, the recent back double bicep shot that he posted, even though it's not a totally fair comparison because he's not hitting a lat spread, you can see there's no loose skin. There is no wrinkled skin. There is no sign of him holding water in his lower back. All you can see is the muscle. So that's the point that I'm trying to make about the loose skin. And then again, if you look at Blessing straight on from the back, I still kind of say the same thing. While I do feel he's improved his legs, and I do think he's got very impressive width, especially in the upper body from the back. Crazy wide lats, crazy wide shoulders, a great stage presence. Having that kind of width, I just don't think his legs match the upper body yet. His upper body is so overpowering and so overwhelming. I don't think his legs are brought up enough to be competitive on the Olympia level. And we'll find out in a few short days whether or not that's true, but I just feel like he's just so wide in the upper body, it's too much of an imbalance with the legs still. It was good enough to win 2 shows. It was good enough to get to the Olympia. But in this lineup, I don't see that as good enough for top 10. And Blessing has been beefing with these guys like Nick Walker and Michael Krizo. And like I said, I had Krizo in 9th and Nick Walker is in my top 4. I really think Blessing would be in a call-out that's closer to Krizo than Nick. And I really don't think, unless it's numerical, that Blessing and Nick will be in the same call-out. I don't see it as a probability, especially considering the fact, even numerically, Blessing's last name begins with an A, Nick's last name begins with a W. I don't think they would even be in the same numerical call-out if it's organized by last name. And again, these are not knocks on Blessing. I just think he's been talking a really big game. So a lot of people are probably expecting, or at least hoping, to see these callouts with Blessing against these guys he's talking about. But at this point, I just don't even see that happening. Now, next up in the news, we've got Breon Ainsley at 1 week out from the Classic Physique Mr. Olympia. And Breon looks actually really dialed in. Now, I still have Breon coming in 5th place in my predictions. So I had Chris winning. I had Terrence in 2nd. I had Urs in 3rd, Ramon in 4th, Breon in 5th. So I've got Breon slipping 2 placings this year. But admittedly, Breon looks really dialed in these updates. But I've got to say, in years past, especially the years where Breon was battling with Chris, trying to hold Chris off, the years that Chris started to win, Breon looked really good in updates. And people started turning around and saying, oh, well, maybe Chris can't beat Breon this year. Because Breon always looks really good on some of the Instagram updates going into the Olympia. He looked really good going into the Arnold Classic on Instagram. But it really seems like the trend has been lower and lower placings for Breon, regardless of how he looked on Instagram. So I think he looks great here, but I still don't think he's going to be top 3 this year. I really don't. I just think he's on his way out, and I think he knows that. That's why he's switching to 212. He knows his time in Classic is over. He knows what the trend is. So while people are still talking about Breon as a threat to Terrence and a threat to Chris, I just don't see it. Breon was 2 placings behind Terrence at the Arnold. And also, by the way, I think Breon might be the oldest guy competing in Classic Physique. Breon is in his 40s, if you guys didn't know that. So he's not getting any younger, and the placings don't seem to be getting any better. So it kind of amazes me still that I've seen a lot of people saying this, that Breon is still a threat to Chris. I don't know how you can go from him taking 4th at the Arnold this year to him being a threat for top 2 at the Olympia this same year. But then again, I guess I should shut up, because there was the 2020 Arnold Classic. Big Ramy did not win. I believe he was 3rd. Then he went on to win the Olympia that year. So maybe Breon could do that. Now, the final story that I've got for you guys today, another classic physique update. This guy was not in my top 6 predictions. Mike the Badass is his Instagram name. I don't like that name, by the way. I think he should change it. It's kind of corny, but he looks really good in this update, and he's with Brandon Curry in this update. Now, he was 7th at last year's Olympia, so he was right outside that top 6 last year. Coming in this year looking pretty peeled. He looks pretty conditioned here. And I had Fabian Meyer cracking the top 6 ahead of Mike the Badass, and I believe Fabian was 8th last year, so they were in the same call out and they were right in that same conversation. I feel like Fabian has improved dramatically, but Mike looks really good here as well. And again, classic physique is just another division that's really hard to predict. 60 guys qualified. I think close to 60 are actually showing up to compete. I think it's mid to high 50s are actually going to be there. So another category where that top 10 is nearly impossible to predict. But looking at how he looks in this update, I do think he is a potential guy that's in the conversation for maybe cracking the top 6. Mike will likely be second call out where they're comparing the guys that are like in that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 range and might have a shot at getting in there. No, probably not 4, 5, 6, probably just 5, 6, 7, 8. I would bet that we get to see Mike next to Breon in the same call out. Now, the final story that I've got for you guys today, these updates of Rafael Brandao from around 1 week out. These are the same day as the side tricep shot that we talked about already. And I saw these on the Brazil Bodybuilding News Instagram page. So I want to give them credit here. I believe they're screenshots from one of Rafael's videos where he's posing for Chris Aceto, but I do want to give Brazil Bodybuilding News credit because this is where I saw it first. And I think Rafael looks really good. I do think that he is an interesting dark horse guy in this lineup. In this update, you get to see a couple of different angles of him: a front double bicep, a back double bicep, front lat spread, side chest, a different variation of the side tricep, and an abs and thighs. I think there's a most muscular in there as well. And while he looks phenomenal, and I think he's very different in terms of the type of physique that we see in Men's Open, I still feel like I'm going to stick with my prediction that he's going to be outside of the top 10. I think Brandon Curry's prediction that Rafael would be in the top 5 made it interesting, but while he's not, he's in really good shape, but I don't think he's in fantastic condition. And he's a guy that he eats and either come in bigger because he is a more aesthetic guy. He is a little bit smaller than a lot of the guys in Open, or come in extremely shredded. And I don't see him looking too much bigger here, and I don't see him looking extremely shredded. He's like right in the middle, a balance of both, which I don't think is going to be what it takes to crack the top 10 here. But maybe you guys disagree with me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. But that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you leave a like, a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a minute of the Olympia coverage this week. Who's Olivia? I was about to say Olivia. And as always, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.